Hello, my fellow Gorehor besties. So today we're going to talk about a really sad story. The case of Sofia Koval, a 14-year-old girl accused of murdering her grandma. And I want to first start with saying that this highlights the urgent need for a deeper understanding of the factors that lead to such devastating acts of violence among our youth. There's so many cases right now of children just murdering their families, and it's so sad. This incident not only brings to light the complexities of mental health and emotional well-being in adolescents, but it also emphasizes the critical importance of supporting the systems within families and communities. So as we grapple with the implications of this heartbreaking event, it's vital to foster open conversations with your children about preventions, interventions, and resources available to help young individuals navigate their struggles. So as I said, this is about a 14-year-old girl who brutally murdered her grandmother in Florida back in May of 2024. And they had said initially they were trying to determine if she was going to be charged as an adult or if she's going to be charged as a minor and things like that. So I'm going to play a quick video for you guys like I usually love to do. That'll go over some stuff and then we will deep dive into it. So we'll be right back.
14-year-old in court today facing charges in her own grandmother's death. That teen is accused of beating the 79-year-old in a condo in Lauderdale Lakes. And local 10's Leanne Motorhome live now to explain what happened when a young teen faced a judge today. Leanne.
And her father was in court as well today. We did reach out to him for an interview. He declined citing attorney's advice, but he's really caught in the middle of this tragedy. On the one hand, his elderly mother has been murdered. On the other, his daughter accused of the heinous crime. 14-year-old Sofia Koval openly prayed in court as she waited for her case to be called.
Sofia Koval.
Her father also in court with help from a Ukrainian interpreter. The teen stands accused of second-degree murder for allegedly beating her grandmother to death.
And did he find probable cause for second-degree murder?
Yes, sir. The crime allegedly happened last week inside a condo along the 4100 block of Northwest 41st Street in Lauderdale Lakes. Koval was allegedly left home with her grandmother, 79-year-old Yevgenia Koval. That night, police say the victim was found with multiple bruises on her body. She died from her injuries.
Inside.
Cell phone video shows the police response outside the condo complex around 12:30 a.m. on May 23rd.
Female, not conscious, not breathing.
An autopsy determined the victim's cause of death a homicide. The defendant's father and son of the victim says his mother was a sweet woman who never hesitated to help others.
She's a very good girl.
Neighbors described observing a normal relationship between grandmother and granddaughter.
It's something out of character. She's been going through a lot because she wants her mom.
No warning signs of the alleged violence to come.
Now she's going to be incarcerated. What was the reason that caused all of that to happen?
So prosecutors may choose to charge Koval as an adult. That will become more clear when we have our next hearing in this case on June 12th. For now, Koval will remain in secure detention.
Undetermined if they were going to be charging her as an adult or if they were going to be charging her as a child, but it turns out that they had decided to charge her as an adult. So I want to play this clip for you real quick about her recently being charged, and then we'll jump right back into why her being charged as an adult is still concerning.
Today on that 14-year-old girl accused of beating her grandmother to death in Lauderdale Lakes back in May.
She is now being charged as an adult, and Local 10 Cyber Encore is live outside the courthouse in Fort Lauderdale.
And I know you have some new details about what's in this case.
That's right, Christy and Janice. So previously, this 14-year-old had appeared before a juvenile court judge here at the Broward County Courthouse, but that will no longer be the case. She will now be tried as an adult. Here is 14-year-old Sofia Koval's mugshot. She did have a hearing this morning, though she did not actually appear in court. But again, she's now charged as an adult with manslaughter in the May 23rd beating death of her 79-year-old grandmother at their home in Lauderdale Lakes. The Broward State Attorney's Office says they formally filed the adult manslaughter charge against the 14-year-old yesterday, and she was moved from juvenile detention to a Broward County jail where she will be held in protective custody. State Attorney Harold Pryor says The decision was made due to, quote, the heinous nature of the crime. The 79-year-old victim was Yevhenia Koval. That's Sofia's grandmother. She was found beaten to death back in May, her body covered in bruises. Arrest documents say Sofia admitted to her father that she had beaten her grandmother. The father also telling police that Sofia may have used a belt and the victim's walker to brutally beat this elderly woman. So back out here live, Sofia, if convicted, could get a maximum sentence of 15 years behind bars. Now, she is not a U.S. citizen, so she could also face deportation back to Ukraine. Right now, she remains in custody. The judge said she will not be released on any bond amount.
So that video unpacked a lot of the information that we're going to actually go over today. So I want to start with saying that I truly feel that the first video brought a lot of excuses for why she did what she did. Everyone saying that one lady that said, well, she just misses her mom. That's not an excuse. So Sofia Koval recently came here from Ukraine, from living with her mom. She came here to living with her dad and her grandma. So they're saying that on the day of the murder, her dad went to his friend's house after they got into an argument about her behavior, and he took her cell phone. Then he went to a friend's house, and he supposedly came home around midnight, and he saw his mother's lifeless body. He asked what happened, and she started saying that it was self-defense, that her grandma scratched her, so she defended herself. But there's just way too much for her to have been defending herself. Like, this was a straight, like, it was awful, brutal murder. So she used her grandmother's walker and a belt to viciously beat her grandma. That's not self-defense to me. Like, that's just pure intent murder. And I understand that she was mad that she lost her cell phone, but like, what did the grandma have to do with that? But I don't think we'll truly ever know, because the one person who knows, it went to the grave with her. And I don't think Sofia's really at a mental capable state at her age to like express like fully. But who knows? I don't know her personally, so I don't know I'm not going to make that judgment. So then she went from saying that it was self-defense to, well, her grandma was already dying, so she was just helping her out. And so I guess that she had a lot of behavioral issues from what her dad was saying. Apparently she had trauma from the Ukraine war. She was missing her mom. She wanted to go home. And that's still not an excuse for her to brutally murder her 79-year-old grandma, who they took her in from Ukraine, gave her a safe place to live, and they were supportive of her. And so I feel like if she had behavioral issues, and I'm not going to judge the dad for his parenting choices, but why didn't you take her to therapy? Why didn't you help her more? Like, I mean, we ultimately don't know what they did for her behavioral issues. He just stated that she had a behavioral issue, and it just seems like a lot of excuses. So as you saw in that last video, she's going to be charged as an adult, but she'll only get 15 years. So by the time she gets, if she gets sentenced, she should be out in her 30s. But here's the thing, what I don't understand. So if you have any legal background and you know how it works, let me know, because I'm uneducated and I would love to be educated on it. So she's going to be charged as an adult officially, but they're saying that she's going to be charged under Florida juvenile sanctions, which could mean that she could be charged under juvenile, where she will be released in 3 years. She'll serve 3 years for the murder of her grandma and then be on probation until she's 21. But again, they are discussing the possibility of her being deported back to Ukraine, where she will go back home with her mother where she wants to be. But I don't think that 3 years is fair. So her grandmother was badly beaten. She had on the autopsy, which I couldn't find the autopsy or the arrest affidavit, and that's because since she is 14, they keep that kind of locked up. They don't release things like that for minors. But from what they have said, is her grandma had massive head trauma. She had internal bleeding. She had head contusions, scalp hemorrhaging, brain bleeds, bruises. Like, it was brutal how she was beaten. And I That's not self-defense. There's no such thing as self-defense and brutally beating somebody. So this case still is ongoing. We don't know what's going to be happening with it. I mean, the case started in May, and it took them until October to determine that they were charging her as an adult. So I will follow up on this trial when there is some new updates to see what's going to happen. Give me your opinion on it. Let's talk about it. I appreciate everything that you guys do for your support, and stay safe out there, be vigilant, and I will see you guys at the next Go Roar podcast. Thank you.